It's June 27th, 2022. Watching the Eyewitness News. I think this one came on at 5 o'clock. um, it's interesting. They're displaying something called the Jimmy Awards. I've never heard of this before. Again, the school that I was held in, you had a gym class they called a PE. That was the only kinesthesiology, physical education, like the only time you actually got up and had some kind of body movement um, during the day. Um, the at times there were after school activity or sports that were incorporated, but not in every school. Like there was no opportunity for me in St. John's Prep when I was in Astoria my senior year in Queens. There was also no like theatrical groups. Like there was really nothing presented. The school had absolutely nothing other than a place and a chair during the day and no direction as to what to do once graduation hit. Um, But the other two schools that I went to, or three schools that I went to, um, there was in sixth grade, they did one play, which I participated in. Everybody, it was like a big thing. Everybody was so excited. Um, but that was the only time theater was ever introduced or allowed in the like possibility range. So that was that. And but I'm looking at this Jimmy Awards and it says National High School Musical Theater Awards and it's presented by the Broadway League Foundation in New York City. And I'm like, wow, I wonder if the people on those boards and on those important things that participate and think they're doing all this great stuff, I wonder if they know that there are kids that are being completely looked over or wiped off of enrollment completely by something else that's creeping into the city and taking over in like real ways. So never heard of this Jimmy Award. Don't know who it has to do with. Watching the news, it doesn't say. But it does have this like big group, and there it's like a Broadway thing. Um, and in the people who don't have the opportunity bestowed upon them as like some gift or some chosen for that program in New York City, um, we had, in my case, in second grade, there was a square dance, and then that was really it. Um, then in junior and senior year, they offered a prom, PROM, but that's once in a lifetime or school theme opportunity to have a dance. Um, I know some people dance daily, but that's not what's been offered here. There's other people who have taken that opportunity in those chairs. In however it's being organized, I'm not quite sure.
They're the best singers and the brightest stars among the nation's high school performers, and the Broadway League has brought them.
And let's just put it this way, out of all four of my children, only one was offered a a potential to perform, and that was Alexander. He was able, it wasn't with his violin, it was with his voice. He was offered, they won some county-wide whatever. I went with him. There was a special day, there were special t-shirts. He and I had a special Mommy and Alex day. and I think they call it NISMA, but I don't really know what that means either because um, I didn't know how to participate in that when I was younger. Nor did I know how to have him participate in it. It just kind of fell in his lap and worked in whatever Patchogue Medford was up to.
I'm here to New York City for the Jimmy Awards. More than 140,000 young people competed in regional competitions, and fewer than 100 of them are here for the finals. And tonight, two winners will be chosen. Entertainment reporter Sandy Kenyon is here with that story. Sandy, this is just a very exciting time for those young people.
It really is, and the quality of the talent, I think, will amaze you even in this short clip. Liz, tonight the big show will be on the big stage at the Minskoff Theater, home of Disney's Lion King. Hosting the Jimmy Show this year will be Kate Reinders, who co-stars on the Disney Plus series High School Musical, The Musical. What makes this evening so fun is the chance to discover tomorrow's stars, stepping into the spotlight for the very first time.
I like Broadway!
If the past is any guide, one of the best places to catch a rising star is at the Jimmy Awards. Andrew Barth Feldman was discovered here, and now these finalists are hoping to follow in his footsteps.
It's the real.
And again, also, when there's no money bestowed upon the creator that brought these children through a portal while she's struggling with portal issues from the generation before, there's really no money. Like, I don't want to hear about this. Well, do they participate in the theater? How about this? They'd love to be if they were offered, but they never were. On top of which, one is still struggling and now multiplied into four, which becomes a burden situation that's really hard to explain on, like, let's take the psychological analysis down a notch and really break this down in time and space to where we're really at.
Real life glee. The kids' enthusiasm creates an energy that is unlike any other kind of energy.
An energy, the president of the Broadway League says, that is more intense this year after the competition was forced to go virtual due to the pandemic.
Everyone cares and wants to be here, and you can feel the passion in the room.
And it's so exciting just to grow with all these people because everybody's insanely talented here.
People come together, they work hard, and we make something magical.
They have just 1 week to stage an entire show, but it's not all.
Now, is this what they're calling grooming and gearing children into certain fields? I'm just curious because I know that line of questioning exists. And then it leads my questioning into where the opportunity is being spoiled or not handled properly.
Work. Faces in the crowd, singled out and larger than life.
Being on a billboard in Times Square is something that I never ever thought in a million years would happen. And growing up in New York, like, it's just so surreal to see that.
Fun and a pleasant diversion. But what makes this experience truly valuable for these young performers is the direction provided by Van Kaplan and the choreography of Keisha Lalama, plus coaching from Broadway pros like Desi Oakley.
How else can we elevate, next level? Yes.
The coolest thing about this experience was learning that the most talented people are actually the most humble. I saw that both with my peers and with the professionals.
Can't wait. ABC7 is a proud sponsor of the Jimmy Awards, and you can stream tonight's Jimmy Awards show. I'll be hosting a live program from the Minskoff Theater at intermission with special guests on our website, ABC7NY. Finally, a program note. One of my favorite series returns to Hulu tomorrow.
Now, this piece of information's really interesting considering these colors, the red, yellow, and green, in that U.S. government facility I had to go to yesterday to check on my uncle in the most horrific excuse for care. that's what was in the ceiling as lighting, which I know has significance in other management things.
Family Murders in the Building is back for season 2. Martin Short and Steve Martin reunite with Selena Gomez, playing 3 friends trying to solve a murder in an apartment building on the Upper West Side. The billboard in Times Square tells the story of how big a hit this show became last time. They don't pay for this unless it's big. And Variety says the new season is as strong as the first and represents Selena's career best work. The series begins where season 1 left off, with the murder of the co-op board president. She was a meanie anyway. Hulu promises fans will learn more about the backstories of these characters in the podcast they record.
That's interesting. The co-op board president was murdered, or at least perhaps her reputation, or perhaps her actual place in the larger scheme of things by something else, not quite sure. On Westworld, there's something called Hail Charlotte, if you flip it, and that's a thing. There's something on the TV tonight about a 39-foot boat that got struck by lightning repeatedly. They were shocked. They had to be rescued. They had some kind of global response device that the U.S. Coast Guard worked with. They said it was like the most important thing of detail of the story. I thought that was interesting. Then they said that there's somebody else somewhere that took a whole bag of cash in some Quatar. They have a huge commercial running in New York right now about airlines. But the person who took the money said that it went through charitable whatever, so I guess that's all right. Don't know how that works.
Board together about all of the weird goings on in their building called the Arconia. The first 2 episodes begin streaming tomorrow on Hulu, with a new episode each week until season finale. On this broadcast tomorrow, I will talk to all 3 stars in person. Hulu is owned by the same parent company as ABC7. Dave and Liz?
Now here it has this gentleman's name, and it's Guy.
In a given year. But this morning, 7 people are safe after their 39-foot boat was struck by lightning. The cell phone catching the moment lightning made contact with the boat 100 miles off the Florida coast. Josh Guy, the only passenger to feel the bolt move through him, was knocked unconscious momentarily. Speaking with GMA overnight.
It is very hard to put into words. Almost like an out-of-body experience. It took me around 5 minutes or so, I'd say, to come back to understanding what was going on.
So now what's interesting is he got struck by lightning. There were witnesses around him, knew he was struck by lightning. So to explain in his own defense what happened to him, because the other witnesses recorded for him that it was lightning, he goes on and he's safe in humanity, apparently. I was not afforded the same level at times while in this area.
His girlfriend, who is 25 weeks pregnant, also on board, coming perilously close to the bolt. But she and the other passengers, remarkably, uninjured. Glenn Rumer owns the boat that they were on and was helping shoot a YouTube video when the lightning struck.
And I've been in storms before in the past, and I've never experienced anything like that. The amount of lightning.
And what's also interesting is that this gentleman's last name is Rumer. Who knew that these pieces of language that the TV throws out there are actually people's names associated with them? An R-U-M-E-R or O-R? That's interesting.
Strikes was more than I've ever experienced. It was overwhelming.
Thankfully, they had an EPIRB device on board, and they were able to call the Coast Guard for rescue.
The most important thing that for anybody listening to this or watching this is if you go offshore fishing at any point in time, that you have what's called an EPIRB device. It's a global positioning unit that it's a distress unit that allows you to give the Coast Guard a distress signal.
That is really, really a good piece of advice for global positioning. And if you're in distress, how do you send a distress signal to what is going on for you in an area that's already been known to have some other stuff that you can't see, they don't tell you about, but you exist here at the same time? It brings up a good point. Now, this is interesting. It's this airline commercial, very symbolic. And it mentions this word sound that I'd never heard before. I think when I reference it on Google, it is some geographical location. Again, I don't do air traffic control, so not quite sure, but it's on a map system somewhere. And then there's an actual story about one of the royals who accepted money from the same word pattern that this sounds like. And I'm like, I didn't know you were allowed to accept big bags of cash. I mean, I thought that that was frowned upon. Didn't they teach? I mean, here they taught that you had to earn income through some like systematic way that you can show how you came upon any kind of income through some kind of paperwork system. I didn't realize bags of cash were acceptable.
Wherever you go in the world, one airline goes further to make it feel exceptional. Qatar Airways, going places together.
When pain says...
And here's the last. Now this is on this channel 7.
Well, Prince Charles is under scrutiny today after reports that the future king accepted bags full of cash from a former Qatari prime minister. The Sunday Times reported the prince was given more than $3 million as charity donations from the former prime minister. The newspaper said the money was deposited into the accounts of the Prince of Wales's charitable fund. It did not allege that anything illegal was done. Prince Charles' office denies that there was any wrongdoing. The UK's charity regulator says it is aware of the reports.
Well, with the threat
In New York, this idea of charity and charitable donations is also not in the regular curriculum. So, it just shows his flag, which is a different rectangular pattern than the one that I have where I am. But in my schooling, big charitable donations or funds or foundations, like there's no even construct how society built that section of the world and how it articulates and actually looks and how it can be participated in an honorable manner where you know you're not doing something wrong because there's a system built to support and protect you. I don't feel I have that level of assurity at the moment. This is the rectangular pattern at the moment that I'm in. For contrast, it's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.